Welcome everyone, I'm Jason Snow with Gregory & Appel.
And I'm Tyson with Gregory & Appel.
And today we're going to talk to you about a topic that affects a lot of our clients and a lot of people just in general. That's cyber liability.
It is a growing issue across the country, and with recent stories in the news with Target and Home Depot and Jimmy John's, all claims that are occurring
exactly
regularly.
And you hear about those gigantic companies that are having all these issues, but would it be an issue for maybe a mid-size or even a small company?
I'll tell you what, it's an issue for just about anyone who collects information anywhere, whether it's a credit card information or even a private cell phone number. Those can be considered private information.
Oh. And when there's a loss, a breach of privacy like that, what's going to trigger a cyber liability insurance policy to really kick in, and what's it going to pay for?
Sure. Well, cyber liability policy is going to pay for three different things, actually. The first thing it's going to pay for is the liability that the business incurs from having to pay for damages to the people that it's released that information. And a unique thing about that is the consumer protection laws of the local state are going to apply to the person whose information was released. So if you are a business in, say, Ohio, and you have customers in, say, Arizona, the Arizona consumer protection laws are actually the ones that are going to apply when that data is released.
Huh, that's amazing. So it takes a lot to really understand what you're buying.
Exactly, and so it's important that if you're buying cyber insurance, you might want to buy it from a national carrier who knows the laws of the states that your customers are living in, because it's not your state that consumer protection laws that apply. So the first coverage is that liability coverage, and on average nationwide we're finding that for every one record that is released, it's about a $200 cost to the consumer for the release of that data. You owe them about $200 for credit monitoring, for additional services to make sure that their credit is intact.
Okay. Now, along with that, I'm just assuming because of the society we live in today, a lot of litigation probably occurs. Is that something that's covered under a cyber liability policy?
Absolutely. The defense would be included in that coverage, although some carriers may not. You may want to check with your agent to make sure that when you get a policy that defense cost is included in the limit. The other two coverages that are provided as well are first-party coverage, which means when you have that breach may still be going on, and you need to close that door. And so there's some costs associated with figuring out, or there's some money available to figure out how the breach occurred and how to stop the breach again. And then lastly, because you have to shut the door and try to figure out how to stop your business so that there's no more breach going on, you may not be able to conduct business. And so there's business income loss available as part of the cyber coverages.
Interesting. Now, as part of the coverage, do these national insurance companies, do they provide any sort of assistance? Okay, you have this problem that occurs, what do I do next?
Sure.
Do they have coaching?
There's a lot of coaching, there's a lot of crisis management, and there's some PR companies that a lot of the carriers have affiliated with to help you manage through any loss of data.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about how these losses occur. I mean, you think most of the time it's just a hacker jumping in somehow, right?
That's often how everyone perceives it, but it's not often the case. A lot of times it has to do with the fact that a laptop is stolen, a phone is misplaced, and there's private information on those. One that's often overlooked is the fact that paper records are stolen, either through a theft of the building. If you've got a human resource file and that information is breached, that's also a data breach. It's not just cyber liability or hacking liability.
Now, I think one of those large, I forget which one of the national carriers it was, I do remember reading that it was a vendor whose password was utilized to access the entire network. I mean, it's just amazing that little tiny thing that you think, oh, one person, that can't make a difference.
It certainly can, and anymore the cost of notifying, the cost of paying for claim or the credit services, when you have a lot of records that you're holding on to, it can add up very quickly at $200 a pop. Not to mention all of any potential criminal damages and those sorts of things.
So what would you recommend to do to look into the cyber liability coverage?
Well, I've talked to your local agent, talked to Gregory and Appel. We certainly have many carriers who are available to quote your business. And we can also advise you, and the carriers can help advise you on how to close a lot of those doors before that breach happens.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate it, Tyson, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.